when I'm in their homeland and I'm not in the United States of America. So when you go to whatever country you go to, you got to follow the culture that's already there. Now, what Tyler is not realizing, and she's young, that's why I kind of give her a pass a little bit, is because her management know good and well what they're doing. They're trying to use Tyler with the color thing, like a take a jab at Black America, but make an inside joke at the same time. Because to her, this is my identity. But they know what they're doing. And I've been told by people on my team that Tyler has white management. Tyler even has a white boyfriend. And so clearly she's not surrounded by Black Americans like that. That's what I'm getting at. She's not getting the right counsel. And what's going to end up happening if she don't get the right counsel, or at least get around Black Americans enough to learn the culture and learn America how it is, she's going to fizzle out. Because if they can't make you popular with Black America, and I know they're trying, then that's it. Because in order for them to market you to the Taylor Swift crowd, you got to go through Black America. But the fact is, she's still too Black to be marketed to the Taylor Swift crowd or the Ariana Grande crowd.
Shalom, I'm giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaRachachodash. I'm saying double honors to our apostles and elders there at Great Millstone. Phil from the Philip Scott Show did a video titled, Tyla Needs Some Black American Friends Before Her Career Fizzles Out. Now, Tyla she's 22 years old. She's from South Africa in particular. She grew up in Johannesburg, which is in South Africa. And what made me want to do this video was really reading the comments, which we're going to show. But you still have the ignorance of our people who just don't understand the scriptures. They don't understand history. And they still believe the fact that if you're born on a different continent, then we aren't the same people, right? They go by land and where you're born, when really it's about the spirit and it's about history. You have to know the history. And then, yes, the lands and things like that, those do play a part. But it all boils down to the spirit. All right. Now, Tyla is an Israelite. She is an Israelite woman. That's just fact. However, like I said, if you listen to his video, the point of Phil's video was to say that Tyla needs to get around. Apparently, she came over here a few times. She even went on the Breakfast Club, and they had some back and forth because her thing is in that land, right? They identify themselves as colored. So she identifies herself as colored when she comes over here, or whenever you just ask her. Whereas over here, in the USA, Babylon the Great, colored was used. Even black is a derogatory term. We're not black. Black is a derogatory term as well. If anything, black is more derogatory than the actual word color. Because our people want to associate themselves with black. And when they say black, they're basically talking about a so-called Negro, which means black, in America. That's what they want to say. But the fact is, or maybe you just grew up in America or whatever it is. Fact is, they're all derogatory terms. Black is a very derogatory term. The word black literally means evil. It means negative. It means void of light. That's just what it means. It's not like the word black means that because they called us that and they wanted to mean something negative. No, they called us black because it means something negative. That's what it means. Even if you have like a color chart or a pie chart, if you have like a color code system, black would represent 0 and white would represent the highest number. But guess what? There's no such thing as black people and there's no such thing as white people. You have, in the Bible, you have nationalities of people and they're different shades of brown, except Esau, Edom, which Esau, his name in the Hebrew, Ishashua, he was given that name because he was born without any melanin, born without any pigment. And his name was later changed to Edom, which means red, because he sold his birthright for some uncooked food. And those Edomites today is the so-called Caucasian race, and that includes the small hats. I like to include them because they like to separate themselves. That is why their spirit, they enjoy what? Uncooked food, uncooked meat. They like it bloody red. So the Lord gave them that curse on purpose. Right? Other than that, other nationalities on the planet have different shades of brown. But you have to go by lineage. In the scriptures, there's a people known as the Israelites, right? The Most High Yahweh, that's his name, is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why is he the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Even though Abraham had 8 sons, Isaac had 2 sons, but he's known as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why? Because that's the lineage of promise. The Israelites today are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American people. Tyla is an Israelite. So she calls herself colored, whereas the people over here in America, our people will say black, and they actually use that as a difference. They actually got upset at her. They trying to say, well, wait a minute, what you trying to say? You ain't black, so you ain't one of us. Where she's saying, well, look, I'm colored because where she's born at, that's important to them. And, you know, the word color just means, you know, you show forth color, right? But they're both derogatory terms that was given to us. Like I said, the word color was given to us as a derogatory term. So she's, 22 years old, very young, beautiful woman. I mean, natural beauty, right? So let's go to these comments. As you can see, like one guy says, you know, now let her be her African self. You know, they were like, you know, absolutely the way she talks about black people and how she's not one of us. I don't even listen to her auto tunes, right? Right. They said she's colored, and they talk about other things. Says she's not black American. Let her do her own thing. Let the colored of the South Africa support her because she is not black until they remind her. Says no, nope, go get it popping by yourself. She says she is not black, so why she needs us. She doesn't want anything to do with us. Let her stay on that side. So you see, and mind you, this is Jake saying that. See, our people are still ignorant to the fact that we are Israelites, and that is determined by the nationality, not what continent you're born. And you know, that's funny, and that shows you that really trying to dialogue with these people is really a waste of time, because didn't he speak with Bishop Nathaniel twice? Didn't he talk to priest Zabak? Then he already talked to these people and tell them we're Israelites. So you see, they still, you know, they want to do their own thing. Now he does good videos, but it shows that when it comes down to it, the truth doesn't resonate. It just doesn't resonate. Right now, I just typed this in. Right, I said, you know, here you have some history of slavery and early colonization in South Africa. Because it all goes back to the diaspora. When you hear the word diaspora, it's really talking about the Jews. When it says Jew diaspora going into 70 AD, those were Israelites. Those were so-called black people, okay? Fled into what? Different when they were invaded by Rome, all right, Pompeii. Invaded in Rome, shall I say. What did our people do? They fled to different parts of Africa. That includes, it was primarily north and west, but also south. Because the scriptures tell you that as a punishment, we would be scattered all over, right, in the land of our captivities. Why did our people flee into Africa? Because we look just the same. Now, for the record, Africans, I guess I should start with that. Africans are not our people. Africans are Hamites. Now, if you don't know any better, as soon as I say Africans, you thinking I'm just referring to anybody that's in the land of Africa. No, I'm talking about the actual people who call themselves Africans, who sold our people, the Israelites, into slavery. That's why it was known as an Atlantic slave trade. There was a buyer and a seller. The seller were the Africans, which really they're Hamites. So I'm just going to refer to them as Hamites. And then the buyer were the Edomites. And the commodity, as you can say, the people, right, the slaves, right, what was being traded were Israelites. In particular, Israelites from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Let me pull up the chart. The southern kingdom at the top, as you can see, is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's our biblical Hebrew names, which that I mean that's I shall say that's our biblical names. Okay, because Judah in the Hebrew is Yehowadah, Benjamin in the Hebrew is Bunyamin, and Levi in the Hebrew is Loya. But these are our biblical names. And Judah is the Negroes, so-called. Benjamin are the West Indians or Jamaicans, so-called. And the Haitians are the Levites. Okay, Tyla is an Israelite, most likely from one of those tribes. That's simple, right? Because in the scriptures there are what you call nations of people. There's no such thing as a colored person. There's no people called black. There's no people called white. That was started by the Edomites as a distinction to call themselves superior and we inferior. Yet our people today still acknowledge themselves as black or colored. Yet they call themselves woke. How are you woke when you're calling yourselves black? You know, what is black power? Black means negative, means zero, it means void of light, means evil. So what the heck is a black power? That's why we call ourselves Israelites. And Phil knows this, but yet he still calls himself black, most likely because he's just trying to conform with the world and affiliate himself. But because of that ignorance, you actually have topics like these where you're talking about Tyla, who's just an Israelite, and you're trying to talk about how she needs to get along with us, aka black people, so that her career can, pop off or whatever. And you got people in the comments actually thinking that she's different just because she was born on a different continent. It's because of that ignorance. This is why you have conversations like this. The fact of the matter is, we are Israelites and we have different nationalities. I meant to go to that. Genesis chapter 10 says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Ham, it's like a Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were the sons born after the flood. So we are nations of people and we descend from one of these three people. And out of these three nations, there is a chosen lineage which is on Shem's side. Shem goes to Arphaxad, which goes to Terah, which goes to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. And then you have the Hamites, which you can go down here, you can see verse 6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. And for the most part, all of these tribes dwell in South Africa or parts of Africa as well. Like Cush are the Ethiopians, and Cushites will tell you that they're Ethiopians. The Ethiopians will tell you that they descend from Cush. Right? These people, bottom line is, these people, these so-called African nations, are not Israelites. So if we go back, let's read some of this. History of slavery and early colonization in South Africa. Let me pull up that chart while I'm at it. So here are the table of nations. These are all the nations on the planet, which are 18 nations summarized. Okay. So as you can see, number 10 is the Egyptians. They come from Mizraim. These were the people that put the Israelites in slavery. It was actually Mizraim. And when you look up the Hebrew word for Egypt in the Old Testament, especially in Deuteronomy 28:68, it'll say Mizraim, which represents the Egyptians. Even on their hieroglyphics, they show what? A dark-skinned people in slavery under another dark-skinned people, because the Jews are so-called black people. It says North Africa, and we're talking about the spirit, okay, them people in North Africa, they are from Put, which is Canaan. The South Africans also come from Canaan, okay. Number 9, Ethiopians, they come from Cush. So this is a summary of all the heathen nations. Heathen just means outside the temple, outside the nation. Okay. This is the ignorance that our people lack. This is the knowledge that our people lack and the ignorance they have on it to understand that we are not so-called black, right? Or Latino or Native American. We come from nations of people. We are Israelites. And the prophecy was that in the end of days, we would come back to this knowledge. So if we read this article, it says, with colonization, which began in South Africa in 1652, became the slavery and forced labor model. This was the original model of colonialism brought by the Dutch in 1652. And guess who the Dutch are? The Edomites. They dwell in what? In the Netherlands. So fact is, there was another slave trade as well in South Africa, just like it was in the western part of Africa, right? It says, and subsequently exported from Western Cape to the Afrikaner republics of the Orange Free State and the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic. Many South Africans are the descendants of slaves, which many really Israelites, brought to the Cape Colony from 1653 to 1822. So I'm gonna jump down. So the fact is that the Atlantic slave trade was a deal that the Edomites made because they understood of the diaspora of the Jews in 70 AD. There was a deal made to the Hamites and say, hey, round up those Jews and we will give you guns, muskets, and other items. And thus began the trade. They gathered us up by separating us because they knew who we were and sold us. So so because people are quick to say it was your own people that sold you. Those are not our people. Those are Hamites. We are Shemites. We are Israelites. They are Hamites. There's a difference. So the reason they had this trade was because those Hamites understood and still know to this day that we are different people. Okay, ask Tyla, does her family put plates in their chin or rings around their neck to extend their necks, or bathe in cow piss in the morning, or eat monkeys live, or even fresh while they're dead, and just put their head in the fire and then just bite their ears? Ask them, do they do that? Hell no, they're gonna say, no, it's not us. That's them people down south, further down south, them Sudans or whatever. What's the difference? It's the spirit. We are the Israelites. So it says down here, even with slavery, the Dutch did not have sufficient labor power to provide for their ships. In 1657, some companies' officials were released from their contracts and were allocated land along the Lisbeek River. These officials became known as the Freeburgers, Freeboers, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and formed the nucleus of white South African population, came to be known as Boers or Afrikaners, right? So bottom line is, even in that land, South Africa, there was slavery. Our people still endured slavery, as it says by the curses that our people would go into slavery under the yoke of iron. Deuteronomy 28:68, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again, which that word, let's show you, Mizraim in the Hebrew, that word Egypt, Ma'tazarayim, or Mizraim, Egypt, the Egyptians. So when the Lord said, and these curses, right, if we made him angry, this is what he said he'd do. It said, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again, which means bondage. Because when he brought us out, he said, what? House of bondage. Let me find that real quick. Exodus 13:3, and Moses, who was a Levite, a Haitian, right, so-called, said unto the people, remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of the hand of the Lord Yahweh brought you out from this place, and there shall no leavened bread be eaten. And it shall come to pass, that's verse 14, but that's what the Passover represents, being delivered out of the house of bondage, and that's what Egypt is referred to as. So back in Deuteronomy, it says, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again, meaning bondage again, with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, talking about our land. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, obviously, you can go from the land of Israel into Egypt on foot, but it said in ships. You don't need to take a ship to get to Egypt from the land of Israel. But there was ships done in what? The Atlantic slave trade. But they were sold into bondage again with ships. That's why America is also known as the land of Egypt, as well as Sodom and Gomorrah and Babylon. And it says that what? We will be sold into our enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, slaves. And when it says no man shall buy you, it means no man shall redeem you. No one came to our rescue. No one bought us and purchased us and saved us and brought us back to our land. We were just slaves and captives and commodity to all the nations, used and abused for their wealth. And that's why their history, their generational wealth goes back to slavery. That's a curse that the Lord put upon us. And yes, our people, the Israelites in Johannesburg, in South Africa, went through the exact same thing. One of these verses talk about the yoke of iron. Okay, verse 48. Along with one of those curses, he says, thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Go look up, type in yoke of iron just by itself, and you will see what so-called Negro people in slavery. That's prophecy. That's how we know we are the Israelites. And it happened in South Africa as well. And here, check this out. Here's a picture. See if we can preview this. Can't zoom. Okay. So look at that. As you can see, all directed towards South Africa and Cape Town, which is the capital of South Africa. All right. So it tells you how it became a British colony in Cape Town. And, you know, bottom line is there was hundreds of years of slavery in South Africa. Look how long this is. Okay. Look, slavery moves towards South Africa's interior. All right. So this is they went through the same things because it's the curses. Look at that. Look at the picture. Yokes of iron around their necks. That's exactly what that is. Chains. All right. From who? The Edomites. But just because somebody was born, an Israelite born in a different continent in Africa, you would think, oh, they ain't us. Because of your ignorance. And guess who else will say something like that? Israelites. Can you believe it? The men of ISUPK, unless they change their stance, but we have more than enough evidence, the men of ISUPK, in particular one of their leaders, what's his name? Captain Desariac, will actually differentiate between an Israelite and say he's not one of our people because he was born in Africa. There's a video of him with Sarnetta talking with this little young Jake, and they chopping it up real good. But because he said that he's from Africa, all of a sudden, oh, you ain't one of our people anymore. And that's something that an ignorant person who's ignorant of the scriptures would say. All right, so let's look. This is South Africa. She was born in Johannesburg, which is right here. It's considered South Africa. And Cape Town, which is South, was where, you know, they basically set up shop for slavery. And then those Dutch, they come from the Netherlands, which is, to get there, you got to go past Johannesburg, go up further up, you know, northeast. So obviously our people are going to be scattered all over. And I'll just read a few scriptures on that. Just proof. Jeremiah 18:15, because my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient path, to walk in paths in the way not cast up, to make the land desolate and a perpetual hissing. Everyone that passeth by thereby shall be astonished and wag his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity. So we will be scattered. That's all up and down the scriptures as a punishment. Baruch chapter 3. Verse 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us. That's what this diaspora the slavery was all about. All right, it says for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And there's many other scriptures I can read, but Tyla is an Israelite. And I mean, that's really the message. The other things, I mean, when I first saw her, it was about a year ago. I saw shorts of her. I didn't never listen to her music or anything like that. And the first thing I said was that I hope she has, well, she better have a tight friendship, a tight clique around her, primarily of men who are going to actually look out for her, especially her father, because she's young, she's impressionable, she got a natural beauty going, and in this wicked world we live in, which Satan runs this world, she's going to be a target. She's going to be a target to be corrupted. And if she doesn't have a bunch of friends around her, and are primarily men who look out for her best interest to protect her, she's going to fall into the wiles of the devil, because it's only a matter of time before she gets corrupted. And that's basically the poison of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, which I didn't know until Phil told me, and he showed the video, but her management looks like they're so-called white people, so Edomites. So I'm like, that's a wrap for her. And they said her boyfriend is an Edomite as well. Oh yeah, so it's basically a wrap. Now her boyfriend could be an Israelite who just looks like a white person, but I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't see what it looks like, but it's only a matter of time, I would say, before she gets corrupted because of the gatekeepers. And I'm willing to bet her management are the small hats, the 1948ers, the Edomites. I'm willing to bet. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And it's probably in her best interest to get rid of them, but knowing them, they probably got it set up to where she can't, especially without suffering any losses. And she's still a woman, so she ain't gonna want to listen to nobody, hear nobody. No, they're my friends, they like what I have. It's only a matter of time before they corrupt her. She has to have a strong body of individuals that's going to help her and prevent her from making the wrong decision. I think I saw another short with her with Chris Brown. Not good. Not good. She got to stay away from California. You got to stay away from Hollywood. You got to stay away from BET, which I think she got a Grammy. So, oh yeah. So, if she get a tattoo, it's a wrap. If you see her with a tattoo, it is a wrap. Their goal is to corrupt her, and it's going to start with the tattoo, right? I don't even know what her song. I mean, the people in the comments was saying that the only real song she's popular by was that water song, which obviously is not about drinking water, but is just more about sex or whatever. And if, like what Phil was saying, was unless she gets cool with people over here, her career eventually gonna fizzle out or something like that. And what them devils are gonna tell her, or know what they're gonna tell her, they're gonna say, well, if you look at what you did, look at how famous you got. I could tell you, that's what they want to hear. So let's throw some spice in there, because he's talking about attracting the Taylor Swift crowd. You're gonna have to do some degeneracy, get tattoos, go to good girl gone bad thing like they did with Rihanna. That's how they corrupt her. So it's not looking good as far as just hearing that information. If her man is an Edomite and her management is an Edomite, man, they're gonna seek to corrupt her. But that's a different story. But the bottom line is she is an Israelite. All right, it's not about where you're born; it's about your spirit, and her spirit clearly tells that she's an Israelite. Okay, young, impressionable, beautiful woman too. A very good example of natural beauty. But all that revealing clothing and all that is piece by piece. That's the poison of the serpent. They're seeking to corrupt her. So, unless she's of the elect, one of the elected to be saved, and if she's not protected, she's exposed to the wiles of the devil. And it's only a matter of time before she gets corrupted. But, we'll see. So with that, shalom.